You'll never believe your eyes. It was Ilyich Lenin, Ilyich Lenin himself. He had recovered from his first stroke. The doctor said he was capable of making a speech. Apparently, he didn't have the right card for the day, and he couldn't get in. So, of course, they got him in. And I remember this, which it's typical of something of the man's great character. As he went, Zinoviev was speaking when all this was taking place. Zinoviev was the man who spoke in a high falsetto voice, and we all hated him. He shrieked or something. And as he came by us to go up these 3 steps to mount, you see, he had to come by the press table, and he heard Zinoviev speaking, and as he went by us, I looked, and he was tiptoeing, not to make a noise to disturb the speaker. Now, that's a great man in a way. There's a little episode that enlightens a man's character, as Channing said, more than a whole book of biography. And, of course, then, as soon as they recognized him, what you might say in the old days was pandemonium was broke loose again. It was terrific. And then he got up and he made a speech. And he spoke for an hour in Russian. Then he spoke for an hour in German. Then the same speech, I think, a 3rd time in French. I'm not sure about the French, but I remember him pausing for a German word and turning to somebody, you see, when he was translating himself into German. Another facet of the man's character. You see, he was being helped out. Well, as soon as then the photographers all came in, the movie people. They were all, well, there was no TV, but I mean, there was newsreel. They all came in to record this great event of his recovery from his stroke, you know. And so all the big shots of the commentary and everything were hustling him into this big room where we were all to be lined up, and he was to be seated in the middle, and the commentary and the big shots, the Politburo, not the Polit, please, the Politburo on both sides of him, etc. Well, we tried to interview him, what you might call on the run, in this push. And someone started out by saying, "Do you speak English?" Well, what a question to ask a great man. And he said, "I speak him. The English language, not so very good." That was his answer, which was all right. And then somebody did ask an intelligent question, while being pushed. And then someone said, without asking him, he turned to sort of looked at us and said, "Why do you Americans make such a terrific campaign against Bolshevism?" He says, "After all, what is Bolshevism? Bolshevism is an interpretation of Marx. It is the interpretation of Marxian socialism originated by an American." And we said, who? And he said, why, his name was Daniel de Leon. And suddenly a great light burst on me. I thought, my father, whose first political activity was at the age of 25, when he was a volunteer worker for Henry George, when they organized a single tax party, because Henry George originated the idea of a single tax, a tax on gains, a tax on property gains, and gains you could do away with all other taxes. Could even be tried today, I think, and work, and it was never been tried in all history. Among the people who were volunteer workers, there was a Father McGlynn who organized or helped the Knights of Labor, a Catholic labor organization, and he was excommunicated for his part in this single tax thing. Louis Post, who afterwards became a member of the cabinet of some U.S. president, and Daniel de Leon, who afterwards founded the Socialist Workers' Party of America, which still exists. They run a paper called the Weekly People. They're still a minor branch of socialism. They still consider themselves the purest expounders of Marxian socialism. Now, they do, whether or not you... But anyway, so suddenly, Lenin talking to me I suddenly thought of my father and the man whom he knew and my father worked with named Daniel de Leon.